coming up, coming up, coming up. Yeah, streaming on Instagram, streaming on TikTok. Let's see. All right. I think we're live.
Okay.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the UGP show where we learn, we grow, and we build. And today, we're going to be talking about some real stuff about wealth building, real estate, Airbnb. And I have today here with me a very seasoned guest in Kanayo, who is a very good friend and a brother. He's going to be sharing with us some nuggets. And without further ado, Mr. Kanayo, if you don't mind, can you tell us some things about yourself, what you do, maybe something that you love to do as well, your hobbies and things like that?
Well, okay. My name is Kanayo, and I'm a supply chain professional by day, and and as a side hustle, I'm into real estate. Really focusing on short term to medium term, mid term rentals, and then hobbies is hustle.
My guy, no get time to the play.
Hustle is hobby is always thinking of something new that I can get into.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. It's a pleasure to have you here. We don't take it for granted. And so, just to let you all know, we'll be having seasoned guests on a weekly basis, as much as we can on the show, just to educate people, teach people, so that we all together would learn and grow. So, my next question for you, Mr. Kanaya, is what actually inspired you to go into real estate or even Airbnb?
I think we're on a candid show, so I won't be I won't be spilling trying to give you guys aspire to perspire. I'm just
Okay.
gonna tell you
You tell us
way-
the real deal.
the real deal.
I love that. I love that.
And as an immigrant and a supply chain professional here in the United States, the easiest thing for me to do as part-time side hustle was to invest in real estate. So it just made more sense for me to do something would be that would just be on the side, and also for the fact that is something that I like things that are very concrete. It's hard for me to. I think I'm not the right person when it comes to let me say cryptocurrency.
Oh, like
I mean,
trading.
I do put money in cryptocurrency as
Okay.
investment, right? But I think I also like things that are solid, like a property. You would always have it.
Like assets.
Exactly.
Fixed
It's
assets.
fixed, like
Okay.
you would always have it. I think that's kind of like the major push.
You said something which I'm curious to learn more about. You said a side hustle that you just did. You made it sound so easy. Is it easy for everyone to just get into like real estate? Because that's what it sounds like.
I don't know if it's just the passion that makes it sound easy because I don't know. I think sometimes when I speak to people and we have conversations like this and I make things sound so easy, they are looking at me like I don't know how many times I've actually sat down to sign the closing. I think I've done that quite a couple of times right now that it has become part of me that becomes something so easy. So I would say the toughest part about real estate is making that step. That's making that step, making that decision that you
Okay.
want to do. That's the toughest part. And the second part is finding a property because you would get a lot of options and you would have to finally make a decision on one. So I'll say those are the two biggest decisions when it comes to real estate. Things that make it really tough, the toughest decisions to actually make.
Awesome, awesome. So while we're still on the topic of getting to know you, if you were to go back in time, is there something that you would do differently
Um,
and why?
so I think majorly would be, I'm trying to think. It's hard for me to say I regret any of my decisions or if, because I could have done it differently the way I think. Because and it would still not have worked out. But I'll give an example. My first property was like a 5-bedroom home that I didn't live in, and I could split the house into two and live on one part and rent out one part, right? But I chose not to do that because I wasn't very enthusiastic. I didn't want to about the area. Like it wasn't an area that I was excited to live in, right? But my current property right now, where I live, has uh has the same similar structure, right? But I would
Okay.
say it's my best decision. And sometimes there are times where I wish I did that first because it would have put more
Mm.
money in my pocket. Meaning that I lived on one part and I'm able to rent out the other part, and it always feels like I live monthly almost for free.
Okay, okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. So we know that it's a side hustle, but you have to have some passion for it, like because there are challenges from what he has said. So let's just keep that in mind. So moving forward, I think one thing that everybody would want to really understand or want to know is, do you need a whole lot of money, or how much money is needed to actually get started?
Um, I would say it really depends on what you want to do. If you I've I think in just being in the real estate space, I've heard a lot of, apart from my own experience, I've heard a
Mm-hmm.
lot of side gigs that didn't cost a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if you wanted to close on a home, depending on the level you're in, right? If you wanted to close on a home on, let me say, on $200,000, right? I don't think you need up to $20,000,
Okay.
because if you're doing like a 3% down payment and closing cost and everything, it wouldn't be up to 15, 16,000.
Yeah,
So
that's if you were to go with the conventional, I guess, right?
conventional loan, and that would be with current interest. I mean, this is for you to close the property, and now you talk about your monthly payments. So your conventional 6%, right now I think we're doing somewhere above 6 to 6.5% will just determine like your monthly payments. But in terms of closing the home and everything, I don't you wouldn't need up to 20,000 to close a $200,000 home.
Right, right. And then I think some, if you're doing FHA for those that qualify, I think it takes it even lower than 5%, right?
Exactly. You can maybe get up to, I think they do 0%, right?
Yep,
I've
yep.
never done an FHA loan, by the way. I think my first realtor for my first property kind of discouraged me, and since then I've just been very focused on doing conventional.
Okay. So based on your experience, what is one common mistake you see new investors or new property owners making?
I mean, this is something that everyone says, killing yourself. And when I say killing yourself, it's buying something you can afford. Because I,
Mm,
I I feel as much as real estate can be a way to build wealth, it can also be a way that can, if it hits you bad. Like in terms of I manage risk. I think I take risks that I can afford.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Meaning I'm buying a property that if something happens, I have a backup plan to make payments.
That
But
that's actually very important.
yeah, but and I think we've had that conversation sometimes, even with
Yes.
with your own, because I know you two, you have portfolio. But if you really think about it, like if you think about times that maybe rentals didn't go well, guess what happens? The money comes from your
It
pocket.
falls back to
It
you as
falls
the
back
owner.
on you. So if you're not able to afford that, and now you're delinquent, and before you know it, you lost your property. So I think biggest mistake is actually going way above what you can actually afford.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right. So technically, think some things I gathered. If someone has like about 20K, they should be able to get a home or get a property.
Yeah. I mean, this is for you talking about going into investments in properties, right? You should be able to with, and you're doing this for investments, and this is you're doing this as an investment, right? So
Whichever one. Like
yeah,
somebody wants to get their first home.
yeah. Like I said before, I think I always advise people that I mentor to, if you want to get a property, get something also that you can live in and do parts, because that way, so just imagine you're able to afford a $300,000 home and you're single, because I feel like it's easier when you're single, right? I mean,
Mm.
I'm not single, but I'm just saying, when 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 if we, most of the people that I kind of always advise, right, are people that are coming up in their careers and everything, right? So buying a $350,000 home, I don't think your mortgage will be more than, based on current interest rates, shouldn't be more than two
35,
thousand
more than
five,
three
maybe say
thousand.
$3,000, right? And $3,000, if you are able to rent out a part of that home for $1,000 and keep your bill at 2,000, guess what that happens? You're building wealth for yourself,
Mm.
and you have people, someone paying your mortgage, part of your mortgage, to the point that you can afford. And on bad months, when you don't have somebody, you just have to push yourself and pay 3,000. But there'll be good months and there'll be bad months. So I think basically is just thinking of it that way, being very risk conscious.
Nice, nice. And he actually said something which maybe you guys missed. He's a mentor. So if you feel like, or if you think you want to go into real estate, reach out to him. If you want to understand the mistakes that you don't have to make, please reach out to him. I think he has helped a lot of people, and I know he'll be willing to help you as well. Okay, so now let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about Airbnb. So, would you say Airbnb is better compared to long-term rentals? Because I know Airbnb is short-term rental. So, what is your take on those two?
I mean, in the current market right now, I'll always advise people to go short term,
Mm.
long term, and I think it has to do with the amount of the revenue that short term rentals actually generate. Especially if you're in a place where there's a market for it. We're in Atlanta, so you know what Atlanta is. Atlanta is a place where people go to for just the weekend. Atlanta is a place where people always visit. So for rentals, long-term rentals, when you look at the market most times and the current interest rate right now, it's kind of hard for you to buy a property and be able to afford paying the mortgage with rental money. But when it comes to Airbnb, I would say you can double or triple your revenue to be able to afford.
So you're basically saying that you can easily recoup with Airbnb or short-term rentals.
Yeah, I'll say with short-term rental, it's easier for you to to afford paying the current mortgage with current interest rates.
But someone might argue that short-term rentals are not really reliable. It fluctuates.
And in those fluctuations, think about it this way: during, I'll say, short-term rental period, peak period is usually between April, May to August, October, right?
Is this with regards to a particular state or across board?
I would say it's across board. I mean, I've heard it's across board from my own experience. I've only dealt with short-term rental properties here in Georgia, right? But I would say this is across board. You know what? Let me take that back, because I think in some areas where you have different weather, right, it might be different. So I'm talking mainly about places like let me say Houston, um, Georgia, Houston,
Florida.
Texas, Atlanta. Florida. I would say that Florida might have a peak in December. And the reason why I say that is because I know that a lot of people move from lower climate areas to Florida during the winter.
Yeah.
So there's a high chance that places like Florida will have like a peak period during the winter. But in general, looking at places like Houston, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, I would say that in my own experience, the peak period is usually between April to October. So if you really average out the amount that you make in this period with the times that are down, Airbnb usually, short-term rentals definitely have their downtime. So averaging out would still be a lot more better than actually just renting out long-term.
Okay. Now I would say, still on the Airbnb, is it really a passive income, or can it be like something that you can depend on?
If you're saying passive income, meaning you're not doing a lot of work, you you're just relaxing and it's working and bringing up money. I would say it can be. You can make it. There are a lot of automations right now when it comes to short-term rental that puts less work. And also, I would say over time it becomes passive when gotten you've gotten the hold of things. You have systems in place to kind of do the main work for you. Like you have your trusted cleaners, because some of the things that really eat up into your time is finding cleaners, is finding bookings,
Yeah.
and finding booking, like you don't just sit down and sometimes bookings come. It takes some work of maybe readjusting prices. But we have
Strategizing, right?
exactly, but we have systems that do that right now, like the price labs that are able to kind of like
Adjust the prices.
adjust the prices for you. So it can be very passive if you put the right systems in place
Okay.
to make it passive.
So, in your experience with Airbnb, can you tell us like maybe a horror story, something terrible that you've experienced, maybe with one or two guests, if you don't mind sharing real quick?
Ah, I think those days come once in a while. I mean, apart from there will be times where things get damaged or things stop working. I think the biggest thing that causes me a lot of trouble is when I have guests and things are not working. Like your AC stops working in the middle of the night.
It can be terrible. It can be terrible.
Or your cleaners mess up.
Yeah.
And now your guest is one little tiny streak of air and they're like, I want my money back.
Yeah. And you have to refund them, right?
I used to. I think at first I used to, but over time I learned it wasn't the right way.
Really?
It really depends, because sometimes there are people will try to use you, and I think until you grow a thick skin and understand that people take advantages, people think we're all businesses. People have the impression that this is a conglomerate and I'm going to take advantage of them. But I think when I started at first, I used to fall for those tricks. But over time, I stopped letting people push me around.
So
Like
you're now the boss. You understand the ins and outs.
I totally understand when someone
like
is trying
that.
to take advantage of you. And I like Airbnb for a fact that they would be on your side when it comes to dealing with
The
guests
guest.
on time. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's good. So we've talked about real estate. We've talked about short-term rentals, Airbnb. Please feel free to drop your questions in the comment section. Let us know what you would like to learn about when it comes to investing, properties, Airbnb, short-term rentals, and things like that. Now, let's shift gears a little bit again. Would you say now is a good time to buy a property?
I mean, I'm not a realtor, but I know that realtors always say there's never a good time. There's never a good or a bad time. Every time is a good time to buy a property. I know, as at three years ago, we probably heard a lot of times people say, "Oh, this is not a good time to buy," but it's not been a good time to buy for the last 3 years. And in that 3 years, I'll say I've actually purchased 3 properties.
Ooh,
So
okay.
I'll say there's never a good time. There's never a bad time, and it's whenever you're ready.
So
That's the good time.
do you think people say that because of the interest rate, or because maybe they don't just find the kind of property that they want, or maybe the location, the state? How would you compare those differences?
I think I know for a fact that in 2020 or 2021 we had the market was crazy that period. Like prices were off the roof.
Yeah, but then interest
And
rates were very, very low.
were very low. But even into 2021, 2022, because I remember when I bought my first home in Georgia in 2023, yeah.
Yeah.
The price was high compared to today, exactly. So, but do I regret it? No. I'm really happy I bought at that time, because I don't think I've ever regretted any decision when it comes to real estate.
So you're trying to say, like, whenever you buy real estate, it's a good time.
Yes, I'd say it's always a good time.
And then I would just also add this. Sometimes people wait for interest rate to go down, and while you're waiting, guess what happens?
Prices
The
are
price of
going
the
up.
house will keep going up.
Mhm.
The price of the house would continue to go up, but interest rates can actually come down. So what someone has actually told me is you should buy when you can at whatever interest rate that is available. So that maybe in a year or 2 or 3 years time, if interest rates mistakenly goes down, you can refinance and then you have more money in your pocket. So always keep that in mind.
Yeah, but just to add, because I think in that kind of situation, there's one experience that I've had, right?
Mm.
Unless you're buying a home as an investment property, right?
Okay.
Sometimes when you buy a home as a personal property and you need to refinance, but you've bought another personal property and moved out of that current property, it becomes really tough.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes really tough because now you're going to be refinancing that property as an investment property, and
Mm.
interest rates for investment properties are always higher. So that's I think that's one thing to actually look out for if you're going to buy a property at a high interest rate. Maybe try refinance
Refinancing
it
before
before
you.
you move out.
Oh, see, we learn
So
and we grow in this place.
yeah,
All right, cool, cool. Sounds good. Now, there is something about wealthy people. uh, why do you think wealthy people invest in real estate?
I think it's for different reasons. Some people invest in real estate for. I mean, I'm talking personally from my wealthy friends that I know that invest in real estate. Some people invest for tax purposes, especially for short term rental. It helps with taxes with what do you call it? With claiming.
Like the Schedule C?
Yeah, with Schedule E, actually Schedule
Schedule,
E.
oh, Schedule E, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we claiming expenses and because
Repairs?
exactly, and repairs and
Oh,
all of
okay.
that.
I
And
see.
obviously for tax purposes, if it reduces the amount of income I have that can be taxed.
Yeah, and because I think this is also because people spend a lot of money maintaining and repairing stuff, so you can actually claim those things back when you're doing your
Ex-
tax return.
exactly. And that just reduces the amount of money that of your income that can be taxed.
Yeah, and at this point I will say this: make sure you're doing your tax with a tax professional and explain these things to them so that they can guide you appropriately. But thanks for actually sharing that. I think so. If you're someone that is interested in maybe doing short-term rentals, have it at the back of your mind that some of the expenses that you make, you can actually talk to a tax professionals and they will help you do the proper deduction.
Yeah. So I would say it's for different people, different reasons for different people. Some people for tax, some people for building wealth over time. It's a long term game, not a short term gain. So I would say those are kind of like the two biggest reasons that I've seen people invest in real estate for.
So are you trying to say that real estate can actually give someone financial freedom?
I think yes, if you do it in the right way. I definitely know a lot of people that depending on what you call financial freedom, because I mean financial freedom to me is that I'm no longer hustling to make that money, right?
Yep.
Exactly. But I think that takes a long time with real estate, to be honest. You have to
Mm.
play the long term game with real estate, right? You're purchasing a house to pay in 30 years. So think about it. Obviously you can do that. You can actually pay for that house within 10, 15 years. And the rest of it would be income for you. So at that
Mm.
point it's financial freedom. But while you're still hustling to put things together to pay off, it's I don't think there's financial freedom yet to the long term playing to the long term game, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
definitely, definitely.
yeah.
And on that topic, I'll just ask you this: God forbid this happens, but if you were to lose everything today, how would you rebuild?
Hmm. I mean, there's always a 9 to 5.
Okay, okay.
There's always a 9 to 5, right? And I think that's the importance of having a backup plan. Your 9 to 5 is a backup plan, right?
Mm.
You know that you can always work and make ends meet and start all over from scratch. But if I don't know if the question is how would I start all over again in
Yeah.
terms of obviously I have a 9 to 5, the same way I started, save up my money, buy at the right spots. Um, I feel like if I also had the opportunity, I'll look more into flipping properties, to be honest.
Mm.
And the reason I think I've not actually done that is because I don't think I have the time,
Yeah, yeah.
which is
It,
tough because
it requires you to invest your time. You have to be
yeah,
there for repairs,
yeah.
structure.
I've seen people bring different ideas where they would want to do it in places like Buffalo, New York, places where you can buy low and sell and make a lot more
Like do a
profits.
little renovation and then you're able to
Exactly,
sell it at a
and just
better
having
price.
just having the right people to the right workmen to kind of like help will is also very important. So I think if I was to start all over again, I feel like I'll find those guys that I know that I can trust.
Right, right. Like
Yeah,
people that you've built relationship with.
yeah. Because the part of real estate that we're into is quite expensive, to be honest with you. Like there's no real short term gain most times. It's always built for the long term. It's
Long
always
time, yeah.
built for a long term.
Yeah, and then at this point, I will also say that if you have a job, please cherish the job and be diligent in that job because with that job, you can use it to create generational wealth. Like he said, he mentioned that with your job, you can actually save. So if you don't know how to save money, please, I encourage you to start saving because if you're not able to save, trust me, you're not going to be able to do anything. But like from your 9 to 5, save some money, save a huge chunk, if possible, 70% of your income. Save it.
That one
You
is
know,
hard to.
it is difficult, but if you're really serious, you can actually commit to that thing for the next 1 to 2 years. Save it, and by the time you're done with that, you have some real good money to start your investing. Like you said, these things they are long term, so it's not something that you want to just jump into and then get out. But you have to save first, and then you play the long term game. And I think that's how people build real wealth, because I think there's power in holding, there's power in compounding, over time. Okay, so moving forward, I would say what has been one biggest lesson that you've learned in your real estate journey, in your Airbnb journey? What's one biggest lesson that you would love to share with people?
I think I keep learning every day, to be honest. Even when it comes to like managing people, I think real estate kind of taught me patience with people sometimes.
Mm.
So, but if you talk about right at the top of my head, I'm trying to think what would be the biggest lesson.
Biggest lesson or biggest failure?
Mm, biggest failure. To be honest, I haven't seen anything that I would say, oh, this is my failure when it comes to real estate. I think every decision I've made, um, we're either profitable or one was very profitable, right? So, like I mentioned, my first property, I'll say, even though sometimes there are times where I think about it and I wish I did my current property right now
Yeah.
first. But there are also times where I realized it would not have been easy for me to, because like the other example I gave where I said live in a property, then refinance, then before you move out.
So you move, yeah.
Do you get my point? If I felt like if I bought my own home where I live first, it would have been difficult for me to reinvest in other properties. So whichever
Yeah.
way I think about it, sometimes I realize, oh, okay, there's really no mistake to this. I moved with the flow,
Mm.
and there were big gains. There are some that are
Sounds
not
like
as big
it
gains.
sounds like it's like there's a God's master plan for you that everything is working for your favor. Whoosh! Well, that's actually good. I mean, I understand some people actually don't get too many bad experiences, but it might not just be as profitable as some other ones. So, which I think that's what he's trying to share with every one of us. So, I think that's
Yeah.
really good. That's really good to know.
And I think just not taking, I don't think I take a lot of risk. I think I'm very, very conservative. I'm pretty much very conservative. So I don't think I take too much risk. So I think that puts me like in a very safe spot too. Which I think that's my own mantra. Just be
Yeah.
safe.
Okay. I mean, I think that actually helps
I
you to
mean,
be
if
successful.
if you like to take risk, oh, because you can take risk and you become a millionaire overnight.
Right.
And maybe
Yeah.
you come share with me
You say,
your experience.
no risk, no reward. If you don't want to take too much risk, take the risk that you can manage. So I would say on that note, is there someone that inspires you towards doing all these things? Is there a group of people that you look up to, or is there someone in particular that you look up to?
Uh, it's hard for me to say that because I feel like yeah, obviously there are a couple of people I've seen on. I don't think I personally follow anyone, to be honest. I think I've but once in a while some people will come up on my timeline that have been in real estate that I kind of get inspired by. And I mean I would also mention my realtor, my first realtor here in Georgia. I think based on his experience, he's also a Nigerian, by the way. Based on his experience and the things he has told me, sometimes I know he quits. I think he quit his job like after he used to work in medical sales. I'm trying not to call his name, but
Okay.
if he ever listens to this,
He will know.
He will know it is him. But he quit his job in medical sales and he went full time into real estate. And he's also a realtor, by the way. So it's that thing that going into that field just full time, gathering a lot of properties. As at the time I think we met, he had close to 30 properties
Oof.
on short-term rental here in Georgia.
Really?
So imagine 30 properties, but not all of them were owned by him. I think he also managed for people to, like, people that would be interested in investing would invest. And I see how, like, that capacity, that's putting in that energy, I think that kind of like inspires me in a way. But then again, I don't see anybody that particularly does things the way I do. So it's kind of hard to say, oh yeah, this is who I look up to.
I guess you've just taken some good tips
from different people.
Different people. I think that helps also, because I would say you don't want to fail if someone else has already failed. So you want to learn from that person's experience so that you don't repeat that person's mistake. That's if you're able to see something like that. And one thing I would say, or I think one question on this same topic is, what advice would you give to your younger self? Not saying that you're old, but just, someone in their maybe 18, 19 to 25.
I mean, I think maybe culture. I'm trying to see. I feel like I've always been old, to be honest. Not that I really think about it. But like I would tell like a lot of young people too. I think just having that mentality to invest, and it's sometimes hard to advise. Being on this show is, I feel like people with different backgrounds, right? I try not to put, would I say, an advice to everybody? Because it's, think about it this way, right? Your background kind of determines how you see money and how you, like, there are people that I tell, you based on what I see, based on your background, I don't even think you should be investing. You have money already invested for you. Like, so really, I think it varies. I don't think it's hard to tell people to take a certain type of route, because I feel like everyone should own their own journey. Right. And your own journey is really determined by a lot of things, including your background and where you're going to. If some people will tell you that they're just okay with, I'm okay as long as I can eat food and be in my father's house, man, I'm good. And someone will tell you, man, I want to be Elon.
Yeah, I want to build that generational wealth.
Exactly. So these two people have different journeys, have different have different views. And so when I'm giving from my own background and my own journey to another person that has a different thing, it's hard. It will just not flow. But for my younger self, what will I say to my younger self, man? Do what you just did.
Really?
Yeah, like it's hard for me to say that. Okay, maybe one thing would be I would have started investing earlier in real estate.
Okay, that makes sense.
To be honest with you, I think when I bought my first property in 2019, I think it was 2019, I didn't purchase any home again till 2023, which was a very big mistake.
Yep.
Like, I feel like that was the time for me to have been investing every year one house.
Yeah, I agree.
Every year one house. Because I was single, there was no risk. Like, you don't have a family to take care of. Like, what are you doing with your money, man? Just invest as much as possible.
But who knows? You said there's nothing that you would have changed. So maybe you were using that time to actually garner some experience, which is helping you today.
Yeah, which is also true, because, But if I have to really think about it, that's probably one thing I'll say to myself, that I wish I didn't spend 5 6 years before acquiring another property.
Mm, okay, so in
Oh, okay,
essence,
sorry, I take it back. That was like 3 years, actually, 3 4 years.
yeah. So think, to every young one out there, if you can start investing early, you know, you really want to start those things early so that by the time you're 30, 35, 40, um, then at least by that time you would have some real good stuff. Okay, so just while we're winding down, quick questions for you. What's your favorite city?
My favorite city is expensive, and I I think it really depends on what. I would really say my favorite city would be LA. I like how clean LA looks.
Yeah, yeah. Is it
But
is it that
but
clean? Maybe some parts though.
I mean, the few times I've been in LA, I really liked the weather. Maybe it was just the timing, because I mean the period I went to LA a couple of times, I used to live in Minnesota. So comparing, moving from whenever you get from Minnesota to LA, and
The difference is
the
clear.
difference is so clear. So I need to go back to see if it will still be my favorite city.
Okay.
But again, my worst city would be New York. I know that was not the question, but
You wanted to put that out there too. Well, we're not hating over here, anyways. So next thing, would you rent or would you buy?
I would always buy
Okay. Um, house or apartment?
a house. I feel like I always get choked up in apartments.
Okay.
Uh,
Airbnb or long term?
um, Airbnb full. I mean, Airbnb short term rental in general, though. Anytime, any day. I mean, I think it depends. To be honest, I feel like when life settles, interest rates are low. Long term would be my perfect better bet.
I always prefer long term, anyways.
Yeah, it's easier, but if you're still hustling and looking for money, man, like short term rental always makes more sense. But if you're looking for more stability, I would say long
Long
term.
term, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Lesser risk too,
exactly.
so that your mind will not be jumping while you're sleeping in the middle of the night and what's going on.
yeah. Because with short term rental, there's just a lot that happens. Trust me.
Okay.
You're in your house by 12, and you look at your ring camera, and next thing you see 50 people
Oof.
standing outside, and now you're calling the police. You're threatening with the police.
All right, all right. So cash flow or appreciation?
Man, both of them are important. There's
What would be your first take?
cash flow appreciation.
I know you like instant money from your whole short time discussion.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because obviously I want cash flow, man.
Yeah, me, appreciation. So that's good. So, what's your dream investment? Or do you have a dream investment?
I think in like right now I've been thinking about commercial real estate,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I've had a couple of thoughts and shared my thoughts with a couple of people too, and also heard different things. So I think mine changes every time. Mine changes every time depending on the time of the year. I remember I was talking to my realtor recently, and I was telling him how I wanted to get into commercial real estate, and I was thinking of strip malls. He
Mm.
told me storages were the main thing right now. That I should think storages.
Yeah, I've actually heard of that too, but
So
I wonder how that thing works.
exactly, because I'm wondering. I use my all my different properties garage as storage. So I'm really
Exactly.
wondering how people. I don't know if people
I,
really.
I guess I guess we have to think beyond ourselves. That's where I think culture comes
Yeah,
into. You have to think because a lot of people here use storage
yeah.
and they don't mind paying,
Continuously, like
yeah,
every month. I think
every month for it.
I have
Yeah.
a couple of friends that have businesses that they need to keep things in storages, and they do storages. Like people that do events, they always leave their things in storage.
That makes
So
sense.
maybe I've just not looked into it enough to know if it's something I would want to do.
Okay. So one word that you would use to describe success?
Rest.
Rest. Okay, that's fair. My own is satisfaction. If your success is not bringing you satisfaction, count me out.
Yeah, if your success is not bringing you rest, man, like you're not just chilling, like just chilling without thinking too much, man.
All right. So we're closing right here, but I'll say if you could leave our audience with one piece of advice that will enable them to learn, to grow, and to build, what would you tell them?
Hmm. It depends on the crowd I'm speaking to right now, though.
So this is general. Just what would you tell our audience, irrespective of where they're from, what they do?
age.
Just yeah, just what would you tell them that to enable them to learn, to grow, and to build?
In real estate or just in life in general. I feel like
The ball is in your court.
I'm making it difficult right now, but since
Yeah, just keep it simple. Something.
I'll say focus on you. I think we're kind of in a generation where most people are either looking for, I don't want to say validation because it sounds like I'm just throwing words, but we have too many I could have come on this podcast right now and say, yeah, I make $1 million. Come on, let me show you the way, right? And at that point in time, you're gingered and you're just wanting to jig it. But I feel like there are just too many lies on the internet. So
I
think
agree.
learn to filter that and own your own journey.
Yeah. And there's something I said sometime on one of my platforms. I said, believe everything in social media at your own risk. You will see a lot of people show things that are not even existing, but you will see it and you think they are existing. So please be careful of what you feed yourself from the social media. Anyways, Mr. Kanayo, thank you so much for coming on the UGP show.
It was fun to do
We
this.
really appreciate you, and we would see you again because I know there are some would probably take a deeper dive into Airbnb because it sounds like he has a lot of experience with Airbnb. So we need to unpack that sometime. Okay. And if this is your first time again, thank you for coming by. If this is not your first time, thank you for continue watching. And if you've not already, like, subscribe, and share this to everyone that you think needs to learn, build, and grow. Until we come again next time, we'll see you. Bye-bye.